Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We got sunshine. The sun decided to beep out here. We'll see how long it lasts here. So, hey, yeah, so we got some cloud cover. We got 59 degrees. Not too bad. Maybe we'll get to 60, low 60s. Here, we'll go over here to the corner here. We'll try to, we'll wait to cross the street here. I might head to the other side here. We got the Nature Conservancy is asking for donations, so I'll cross the street here. Not that I'm against them, I just don't want to get my wallet out in the street here. We'll head over to, hey, Nutella's, Nando's. Chris, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, well, we'll head into the loop today. We'll probably circle around to the Riverwalk here. Hey, Nando's and Nutella here, and I guess they're looks like they got a field trip here. There, we got the nice view looking up Michigan Avenue. East Lansing, thanks for tuning in, Chris, from East Lansing. There's the camera straight. A little crooked here. I'm always messing with the camera here. I don't want to mess with it too much because I usually do something wrong here. But hey, we'll wait for people to come in here. I'm on right on time here. Actually, I'm a little early. I'm 11:58. That's why people aren't expecting me. But hey, we'll Dia Blaze, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Alberta, Canada. That's great. Calgary, that's great. Thanks for Calgary's a beautiful city there. How's the weather up your way? We got almost 60 degrees here. We're crossing Michigan Avenue here. There's looking straight up towards Wrigley Building. Hey, John James, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to our little walk here. Chicago, Michigan Avenue. How you doing? We'll head past this parking garage. It looks like the grill of a car. We'll go past the taco pub, Broken English Taco Pub here, and we'll head towards the loop. See if we see some L trains, and we'll go by Daily Plaza, the Chicago Theater. I haven't been by there in a week and a half. We'll see if they updated the marquee. And we'll probably head over towards LaSalle Street, and then I'll get to the South Branch of Chicago River, and then we'll catch the Riverwalk and head back. It's generally what the plan is. Never know. Sometimes I bounce around and find something new that I want to film. But happy Friday. We're back there, 7,470 square feet available there. You can rent right there in that car looking building. Mama Goo. Yeah, I'm sorry you can't find me on TikTok. That's TikTok's problem. I thanks for trying to find me there. Maybe someone here in the lunch bunch can help you out. Again, you got to put the like the email at, at gmail.com. You got to use that A with the little circle around it, the ampersand. What do they call that, ampersand? At Brian Really Chicago, BrianReallyChicago. I know it's impossible to find anything on TikTok. I have the same problem when I try to search people. When I lost my account, it was really hard for me to find people that I was longtime friends with. Here's the yellow going by. Look at this. Sounds like they got a busted wheel. Hey, Daryl, how you doing there from Burbank there? 11 degrees centigrade. That's not too bad for Calgary. That's great. Thanks, Dia Blaze there, and thanks for tuning in there. And yeah, we got about the same here. We're just maybe just a tad bit warmer. There's some sirens coming up. Oh, a fire truck's going. See how the fire truck's going across there on Washington. There's an ambulance behind it. Typical what they do here. We're looking down Wabash here. But no, I'm sorry you can't find me on TikTok. Like I said, message me here on YouTube, and I'll write you back. You just have to reply to any of the videos that I post here on YouTube. Usually, if I know you, and we'll message back and forth using YouTube here, and we'll try to get you hooked up here on TikTok. But I have all kinds of beefs with ByteDance. It's not just that they want to ban it. I got personal grievances with that company. You go to Chicago, that's good. Tinley Park, that's great. Andres, how you doing there? Yeah, Costa Rica, that's great. Thanks for tuning in from Costa Rica. Yeah, Mama Goo, that's TikTok for you. TikTok, we cannot rely on TikTok. That's why people are like, you know, you should just quit your job and be a full-time live streamer. I cannot rely on TikTok because you can be banned at any time for any reason. We could lose all our friends and they don't care. The algorithm, it's all on autopilot. Just wait till AI runs the world. You'll call, just like now, you call the service, you can't even talk to a real person, you're talking to a robot. Here, look at the Chicago Theater. So here, there's the train pulling into, it's hard to see there, the train's pulling into the State and Lake Station here. Live Nation presents Ronnie Chiang, sold out, Chicago Theater. Hey, he's filming it right there, they're filming it. There's the subway entrance to the Red Line here. You can take the Red Line. We got videos of that. There's the Torture Museum. Grim Evil's done it. He's got the footage there on Instagram there. There's the Chicago Theater there. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. How you doing there? So what I want to do, I'm going to cross the street here. I'm going to cross the street to get you a better view of the, oh, come on. I'm out in the middle of the intersection. There's a police officer going by. Of course, see, you didn't stop me. They're used to jaywalkers here. But here, there's the Chicago Theater. Look at that. Why did Brian cross the road to film the Chicago Theater there? Thanks for tuning in. We got beautiful sunshine here in Chicago. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hey, Anna Marie, John James. So Chicago Theater, I think it was built in the 1920s. You can look on Wikipedia, it'll tell you for sure. I think this is Balaban and Katz. Balaban and Katz was the company that used to own a bunch of theaters. They used a lot of architects that specialized in theater design. And the Chicago, here's ESP in Chicago. How you doing there? Yeah, this is one of the classic Balaban and Katz theaters. We lost, they had theaters like the Uptown Theater and theaters on the south side that we've lost in our serious disrepair. But here, they're taking a photo there right in front of Ronnie Chiang, the Love to Hate It tour. Look at that. Yeah. So anything you ask me, I'm sure you can find it online if you just do a search there in your Google machine, and artificial intelligence will make up an answer for you. Look at that. Look at that view to the Aeon there. Chicago Theater. So we'll go by Channel 2. Channel 2's over by Daily Plaza. This is Channel 7. This is Channel 7. Sometimes we go by here at 5 o'clock and they're doing the evening news. You can watch them doing it. Yeah, let's head over to Daily Plaza. We'll see. We'll go. I'll show you where Channel 2 is. Here's the Gene Siskel Film Center. Remember Siskel and Ebert? I don't know if you saw those film critics that used to work for the Sun-Times and the Tribune. They had their show there. And there's Macy's, that used to be Marshall Fields. The Joffrey Ballet's up there on the second and third level. Walgreens is the first and second. Or no, yeah, Joffrey's the third and fourth level. Walgreens has the bottom two floors there. Look at the Muddy Waters mural right there. Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing here? Yeah, thanks for the good question there. Do the best I can to try to answer there. So I want to cross the street here. We'll wait for the traffic. So the fire truck went down on State Street. The ambulance is over there. Here, here's the Chicago Theater. Hey, the tulips are starting to, there's some nice violet tulips here on State Street. Same with Michigan Avenue. The tulips are starting to come out. Look at the Jewelers building there behind the Chicago Theater. We'll head across the street there, here at State and Randolph. And we'll head past the Nederlander Theater, which is right there. Try and get you a view of it here. Oh, sorry. Get you a view of it right here. There we go. Yeah. Waiting for the light here. Always waiting for the light. There we go. We got the light. Yeah, the Muddy Waters mural's looking nice. Marco, how you doing there? Yeah, it's a nice day. We got 60 degrees. A little wind. You probably hear a little wind here. There's the Blick Art Materials. That looks like a cuckoo clock because that used to be a German beer hall after the 1933 Century of Progress. They moved it there. They saved the facade and they built this building behind it. Probably in the late 1990s. There's the James Nederlander Theater. Used to be the Oriental Theater. Before that, it was the Iroquois Theater. So you realize how both of those names were problematic, and that's why they renamed it. But look at the beautiful facade there. It's even more beautiful on the inside, as you can imagine. Jay, City Walking Girl, has seen some shows there, and you can check out her content. There's the Garrett's Popcorns right there, the Cambria Hotel. They got the Theater Zinzani right there, and then there used to be the McDonald's. Look at this beautiful building on the corner, the Italianate, classic Italianate commercial building from the 1870s. They built this right after the Great Chicago Fire because all this area was destroyed by the Great Chicago Fire. Yeah, so many wonderful clocks. We got them on the side. The Marshall Fields has one, and so does the Jewelers Building. Here's the Goodman Theater. Look at that view to the skyscrapers over there on the river. Look at this beautiful Italian building, the Italianate building, I'm sorry. There's the Goodman Theater. They got the, there's the L going by. See the L going by there on, this is Dearborn Street looking north. We'll cross over here. We'll go over to Daily Plaza here, and I'll show you where Channel 2 News is in Chicago. There we got the lake. Here we go. Yeah, Mamma Mia. They're still showing Mamma Mia. Yeah, knowing these clocks, but they're historically they're beautiful. They're beautiful because they stick out on the side, just like the clock tower in the Wrigley Building. It's an historical legacy, you know, and I want them to be preserved, you know, because every once in a while you might need it, you know, and then then they'll be off time. They'll be out of, you know, behind. Won't be showing the right time. Sometimes that happens, but. Nothing lasts. Look how they're working on top. This is the ComEd building. When this was Block 37, before they built all this stuff, this sat empty for a long time, and there's a power substation there for Commonwealth Edison, I think. You see that TV screen? That's where Channel 2 News is. So Channel 7's over on State Street. Channel 2's on Dearborn here. Here's Daily Plaza. There's nothing going on. There's City Hall. There's the Picasso. If you've seen Blues Brothers, several other movies, they use Daily Plaza here with City Hall, County Building. There's Block 37. There's Channel 2 News. There's this substation there. What are they talking about? City's leaders discuss plan to address prevent robberies. Yeah, robberies are up. Unfortunately, violent crime's down a little bit, but it's still too high for comfort. Here, we'll go by the Picasso, a rare Pablo Picasso sculpture. I don't even think he even came to Chicago. He just designed it, and they put it here in the late 60s when they built the Daily Center. Anna Marie, how you doing there? Thanks for the nice emoji there. That's great. Thanks for the gift there. And let's see, Marco. Yeah, they are beautiful. Yeah. So what are they doing here? They're putting some covers on the benches there. I guess they're that's interesting. There, Channel 2 News right there. Look at that flag. That's a new flag. So I know the Chicago flag's there. They're at half staff. What is that flag? It looks like the confluence of the Chicago River. I need to find out what that flag is. They're taking a photo there. There's a nice group shot there. Yeah, right in front of the Picasso there. That's what you do. You go to Daily Plaza, take a group photo. Scenes of the city. They got the fountain on here. The fountain's on. This austere modernist plaza here in front of the City Hall, Cook County building. Yeah, down with robberies, I know. Here's the First United Methodist Church. They got a chapel at the top, commercial space. They got a chapel at the bottom. We've gone in there before. It's beautiful. And let's go here to Clark in Washington. Hopefully I'll maintain my connection here. We streaming okay? Good. Here's the Burnham Center. They used to have a food court. Let me get across the street here before I miss the light here. We're crossing Clark Street. This is Clark Street. Looking north. Thompson Center's up that way. Google's supposed to refurbish that. We'll see what happens here. We'll head all the way over to, let's go over to LaSalle Street. Hey, we got the light here. We'll cross there. So we'll leave Daily Plaza, Pittsfield Building, Clark Street. Hey, we got the bike lane here. Patricia, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in to the Lunch Bunch. How you doing there? Scott, thanks for your nice comment there. And yeah, we'll see if they can get it under control. Hey, the Burnham Center. Look at these columns. We streaming okay? Yeah, sometimes there used to be a food court in there. I don't know if there is anymore. There's somebody using the bike lane. Hey, Grubhub's in the Burnham Center there. There's the city side of the City Hall, Cook County building. Neoclassical columns. We filmed on the inside, showed how it connects to the Pedway. We'll head over to LaSalle Street so we get this classic view to the Art Deco Board of Trade. Found me, that's good. Yeah, thanks, Lynn. Thanks, Lynn, for finding me and tuning in. And I know it's hard to find me both on YouTube and TikTok, but that's half the fun. There's a challenge. Look, there's Icarus. The stock market's flying too high to the sun. It's selling off today. I guess JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon reported their profits. Even though they made profits, the stock went down. Explain that. It is in his statement. He had to do the call. He's not. Jamie Dimon's pessimistic about the economy. He's been pessimistic about the economy for 3 years now, and the stock market keeps going up, and we still got inflation. They don't know if the Fed's going to be able to lower interest rates. I think that's the real thing that's going on today affecting the market, but we'll see. Your guess is as good as mine. It's like gambling. But here we'll head down LaSalle Street. This is the historic financial center street of Chicago, and a lot of it's electronic now. They don't have the pits anymore. They don't have the open call trading, and so people don't even have to head into downtown. They can, from their Cayman Island bank accounts, they can buy and sell commodities. They don't have to be here anymore. But historically, this is why the Board of Trade here, we're on LaSalle Street in Chicago. They got a lot of banks. Let me cross the street here. There's just amazing buildings here to film. I really like going down LaSalle Street because look at that. Look at this. This is the one LaSalle Street building. Maybe I will stay on that side because the sun's on that side of the street. But we can still film the one LaSalle Street bank building here. Look at those doors. Look at the beautiful detail on the side here. And straight up this Art Deco building. All these were built in the 1920s. Here, let's see. Let me make sure I'm right here. Yeah. 1 North LaSalle building, 1929, right before the Great Depression. Premier style of soaring, streamlined Art Deco. Lavishly detailed lobbies. Let's see. I'm going to have to walk right back out because there'll be a security here, but look at this beautiful Fidelity's here. How's it going? I saw the plaque here and they said this is one of the most historically significant Art Deco lobbies, so I just wanted to show people. I'll head right back out. Thank you. Look at these beautiful light fixtures. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I didn't know if you're okay with that. I appreciate it. Oh, look at that. Wow. Look at the elevator. Thank you so much. Look at the elevator lobby. Look at this. Look at the doors. The letterbox. This is the one LaSalle Bank building here. Look at this elevator lobby. Look how nice this is. Am I still streaming okay? Thanks everybody for tuning in here. We're on LaSalle Street. I just want to check out the elevator. It connects around there, so good. So we'll head right back out here. I just want to show this architecturally significant historic lobby here. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a beautiful building. You too. Thank you so much. So yeah, Potbelly, Fidelity. There's a bunch of other stuff in this building. Bridge Investment Group. Yeah. So here. You see that, John? You see that, Patricia? Isn't that nice? See, that's why, you know, people are like, why do you film downtown Chicago? Because it's architecturally significant. So much happened here. Chicago at that time was the second largest city in the United States, second to New York in the financial importance, and the same with the Board of Trade here. And the Mercantile Exchange is still here. All the railroads and stuff, it concentrated all this wealth to create these great buildings. And, you know, even though we've declined somewhat, look how it's terraced back here. They built that right before the Great Depression. It shows you the optimism of the time, that they didn't foresee the crash happening. And so many of these there was more buildings planned like that were never built because of the stock market crash. And this building right here, you see on the side, it's hard to see. There's a portion of it that goes up further. Let me wait till this light changes, because I want to show you what is this building. This is the now it's a Residence Inn for Marriott. See how this used to be a financial services bank building, and now it's a hotel. I just want to show the side of it here, because there's only one portion of it that goes all the way up. You see how right there it goes all the way up, probably 40 stories, and then the rest of it goes down 30 stories here. And so we'll head down, we'll keep going down LaSalle Street here a little bit. Hey, thanks John, thanks for being part of the lunch bunch. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in on a Friday. I know a lot of people got other stuff going on today, so people can watch this in the reruns. Look at the beautiful bottom there. Larry Kim, thank you. Yeah, gorgeous doors. I'm glad you saw that. So we'll eventually get over to the Riverwalk. Here's the State Bank of India. Look at that. That's a nice building. And you see how they added floors on a lot of these buildings. This building too. They added floors to the top of it. The Northern Trust. And look at the gate over the alley. If you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're on LaSalle Street. You see the Board of Trades down there. And we're heading south there through the loop of Chicago. Northern Trust Saving Company. Look at the alley. They got that sky bridge across the way here. Look at the neoclassical columns of this Northern Trust Bank. Millennium on LaSalle. See, they converted a lot of these to hotels. They used to be financial services offices. There's BMO Harris, BMO Bank. I guess they still call it Harris, or maybe it's just BMO now. And there's 39 South LaSalle. Look at the alleys. This is the density, the concentration of capital, you know. But yeah, we got 60 degrees. I'm not even wearing a jacket. I just got 2 layers of flannel on. There, the Northern Trust. Here we'll head another block south here. We'll kind of go by the Sears Tower, and then we'll start angling back here. We got 1220 Italian Village is that way. The Marc Chagall Plaza with the mosaic is there. There's the Rookery building. We've gone inside there. There's the Board of Trade. I've gone inside the Board of Trade, the bottom, but every once in a while the security chases me out of there. We went to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve branch of Chicago's down here right across from the Board of Trade. And they got a museum there, a money museum. There's a rerun on YouTube if you want to check out the money museum there on the Federal Reserve. We went through it, and they had $1 million in cash in a cube. It shows what it looked like in dollars or 20s or hundreds. They'll give you a bag of shredded money. That's all our money's good for. It's just a bunch of paper. People don't believe in it. It's all based on debt anyway. I have this theory that all our money's based on debt. The U.S. Treasury bonds. Here's the 135 South LaSalle Street building. It used to be the LaSalle Bank building, and now it's Bank of America. And we went inside this. They have a gold lobby in here. Let's see if we can. Well, the security's right there. Maybe if I enter the side, you can enter the back way. There's the Rookery, and then Frank Lloyd Wright redesigned the lobby in there. We got a YouTube TikToks on that. The Rookery building, the Board of Trade. If you've seen The Untouchables, the mini movies, Public Enemies, then we should get a really good, there's the L going by with the Sears Tower. There's the L going by and paying up to the Sears Tower. Welcome to Chicago. Look at that scene of the city here. Train keeps on going here. There it is. See how you can look straight up to the full height of the Sears Tower here. We just made a right at Adams. And this is Route 66. Adams Street is Route 66. The same one that goes to California, at least historically. We'll go by the W Hotel. It starts at the Art Institute and heads over to Ogden Avenue, and then it heads west all the way to California. The famous Route 66. You can get your kicks. Start here in Chicago. It's even in the song, you know. And yeah, Marco Mamagoo. Yeah, let's get rid of the Federal Reserve. That's why I was talking about that this morning. I was like, I know we're all concerned about inflation, people on fixed incomes, my father, you know, people that are retired, inflation's affecting all of us. And I know both political parties blame each other, but it's really the Federal Reserve, you know, we don't elect the Federal Reserve. They're appointed, you know, and they're supposed to be non-political, non-partisan. Yeah, good luck with that, just like the Supreme Court or the courts. They eventually have to weigh in, and if you deal with money, it's political, or the price of money, or the cost of money, or financing. And it's just to keep the power and structure in place, keep the people with money, keep the rest of us working for them, so there's not social unrest. Look at here's Wells Street looking north, the L train. We're on the other side of the loop here. There's somebody's running through the car there. There's the Sears Tower, Willis Tower, whatever you want to call it. Look at the 311 scraping the clouds there. Look at that beautiful view there to the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower. We just crossed Wells and Adams here. We're heading over towards the river. Hey, it's good to be back in Chicago. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Yeah, power to the people, Scott. I hear you. I know. I wish they could give us the unshredded money. Yeah, at least give us like an old crumpled up $100 bill. You know, come on, throw us a bone here. You got helicopter money. See all that PPP they paid out during COVID. You know. There's some jewelers right there. So this is the south, and I used to call this the AT&T building. You can walk straight through there, but when you live stream, the security doesn't like it. I used to thought it was part of the Pedway, but I guess it's a privately owned corporate space, like all these things, and that's why if I see security, I ask permission, because I don't want to get run off. And sometimes they're like, no, you can't film here, it's their policy. I'm like, okay. That's right back to corporate space taking over everything. You know, they'll buy up the streets and tax us to use the streets that we paid for with taxpayer money. But it's all based on debt anyway. But here, we're right underneath the Sears Tower in Chicago. Look at that, 1,400 feet straight up, over 300 meters tall, like 350 meters tall. That's Franklin Street. And we'll head, which way do we want to go? Let's go over to Wacker Drive. Let's go over to Wacker. How we doing on time? 12:25. Okay, good. Krista, how you doing there? Yeah. There. See. So that's not even the full height. There's two, and they're on the other side. That's not all the tubes go all the way to the top. And look, we're underneath the Sears Tower here in Chicago. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're on Adams Street. Head over to Wacker. And look, historic Route 66. Do you see that? I told you Adams Street was Route 66. Look at the historic Route 66 sign. I'm sure someone would like to steal that sign and put it on their wall, you know. That's why they got to put them up really high. The one over by the Art Institute has a bunch of stickers all over it. That's the begin. It has the begin sign, the begin Route 66. And some people try to follow the horse all the way to California, but a lot of the road's gone. They turned it. They didn't maintain it. But here we'll go over to Wacker and Adams here, the southwestern corner of the loop, and we'll see if we get the hey, we got the light to cross here. There's financial services there, the 200 South Wacker building. There's Charles Schwab. This is Wacker Drive looking north. See how it has a wide median, because there's actually, you could connect the lower Wacker Drive. You've seen the Blues Brothers, they jumped the police car there. And It suddenly ends right there, and you can connect with the Eisenhower Expressway. But so it looks like they're still working on. Yeah, they're still working on this Riverwalk. Otherwise, I would walk along the Riverwalk. Let's check this out. We're over by the Union Station there. I've walked through Union Station. Union Station's under construction now. Here's a nice motorcycle. Yeah, the Taxman. That's a great Beatles song. And that's what happened to the Beatles. You got to remember that after World War II, the corporate tax rate during the 50s got as high as 90% because they were paying back the war debt, and people felt their patriotic duty to pay that tax. Of course, not all corporations paid that. It was largely symbolic. But in England, it was even worse. The taxes in England after World War II were extraordinarily high. Here, we'll walk on this plaza here because they're working on that side. Look, someone did graffiti. They did a graffiti of the train there. Let's see if I can. Look at that. Look at that. Somebody, that's volunteer. Somebody put that on the side of that wall there. That's amazing here. But here we are at the Chicago River. But yeah, the taxes in England, when the Beatles made all their money off, they paid like 75% taxes. Isn't that amazing? And that's why they made that song. And, yeah, the glass bottom. The glass box is on the side. That's a good idea. Yeah. See, you can see that's the full height of the Sears Tower. So if you go up there, there's, yeah, they call it the. I forget what they call it there. You can look straight. You can go off the edge, and they got glass bottom floors, and you can look straight down the side of the building. I just don't have time over lunch to wait in line and go up there. We'll do that sometime. I think it's like $30 to go up there now. I don't know how much it costs to go to the top. But here we're heading up to Monroe Street here, and see how they're working. You can look, see how you can look underneath. I've tried to film down there. Yeah, we talked about this morning. This is my way to do tours of Chicago. I don't like to do them in person. I'm like Robert Moses, who was the transportation planner. I love the public, but I don't like people. I have social phobias, so I have no problem doing live streaming, but I kind of get freaked out when people like surprise me in the street and want to hang out, and that's why I don't want to give tours. But if I lose my day job, yeah, I might have to resort to it to have an income, but I'll keep that in my back pocket for now. But here's the this is a type of tour. You're watching it. Thanks for being part of the tour. Here comes the shoreline sightseeing. You can pay to take these boats, $50, and they'll take you around and tell you the same thing I tell you for free. Here, the Bright Star. There's the Bright Star architectural cruise boat heading by. 12:30. Welcome to Chicago. This is Chicago River, the South Branch. Oh, sorry. And there's people coming behind me. I got to watch where I'm standing here. There's a water taxi coming the other way. So good. The water taxis are going. This is the architectural shoreline sightseeing here. There's the water taxi. Yeah, the glass bottom. I see that, Chris. That's awesome. Yeah, you got to watch out. Yeah, you get kind of stage fright when you get out there and look down and you feel like you're going to fall off the side of the building, get vertigo. I got to make sure my hat doesn't fly off. We got some wind here, but hey, the water taxi's going. That's good to see. So I'll keep that in my back pocket. I will take us on a water taxi. It looks like I can take him at lunchtime. So maybe next week we might try to take a water taxi. I'll look into that. There's also some that go out into the lake, and you get a nice skyline view from the lake. It's a nice, cheap way to get on the river or get on the lake. $10-20, you know, will get you over there. So yeah, let's head under. There's the L going by. Look at that. So you're not supposed to cross here, and I don't recommend anybody doing it. See the wind's coming here, and if you do it really quickly like this. And here they got these Zen stones. Look how smooth they are. See, we got some wind here. Well, this is the yeah, this is the Mercantile Exchange. This is the bottom. That's why they got these soapstones. There's another tour boat. Look at that. There's the Windella coming right by. Why they got this glass. Man, the wind's really picking up. You see the wind there? Yeah, what a beautiful beautiful day. We got 60 degrees. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? I have to hold on to my hat. Look at that. Yeah. They were waving at me and I'm holding on to my hat. I didn't want to let go of my hat to wave back at them, but I found a way to do it. That's nice there. Thanks for people saying hello there. And yeah. Spaceships. Yeah, it looks like spaceships. What's this? What's this thing over here? But you can see underneath, see the Metra and the Amtrak trains underneath there. That's Ogilvy that way, and then Union Station that way. There's all these buildings. All these buildings are built on railroad air rights. They're all built on railroad air rights. It started with Riverside Plaza. This Art Deco one was the first one. They built these ones later in the 60s, I think. And here how you can walk on the backside of the Merc. This is actually not a bad walk. I'm glad I came this way. I don't usually come this way. You can still get nice views of the river. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Let me get the camera straight here. I'm just a little crooked. There we go. Yeah, the wind sound effects. Yeah, that's how you know this is not. People think this is all like fake. They don't believe anything. Look at there's the City Corp building. Well, it used to be the City Corp building. Now it's something else. That's where the Ogilvy train station is, and you hear the dinging of the trains there underneath the train yard. Look how they got this curved, very good feng shui here. You don't want to have any corners to trap the spirits. Yeah, we're at Madison Street here, Lyric Opera. So the Lyric Opera house is right there. We'll walk through the colony. You can't walk behind the Lyric Opera because it's wind's really strong over here. It's much stronger on this side of the loop. It funnels down these tall buildings. The CME Center, Mercantile Exchange, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That's what the CME stands for. Here's the Civic Opera House side of it. Lyric Opera House, whatever they call it. And we'll get up here to the corner. Yeah, Chris, thanks for being on. Dolores, thanks for being on. Scott, Andres. Yeah, people are having trouble finding me on TikTok. I said, is Brian really Chicago? They type in the search and nothing comes up, so go figure. TikTok's horrible. TikTok doesn't help people find anything. I think it's just because they want to serve up advertising and they don't even care. But you guys were able, most people were able to find me. Here we'll go by the, here we got the light here. We'll go under the Lyric Opera Chicago. We're over here on Wacker and Madison. There's Madison looking. Hey, the trees are really springing forth here. I saw Demishi. Demishi was giving his he's probably still live streaming right now. He's doing an alpine walk there. And the trees in the Alps of southern Germany are blooming. They're green, and you know, it's amazing. Europe gets a earlier spring than we get in Chicago sometimes. It's amazing. It looks beautiful there. But spring has sprung, at least in the northern hemisphere here. And yeah, I know YouTube will get me for copyright infringement. Somebody copyrighted the wind sound, you know, and they'll charge royalties. You know, you just wait till they charge you for water. They're already doing it. We'll charge you for air. There, Civic Opera building here. Look at the colonnade here. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. And Chris, if you missed it, we got inside the lobby on LaSalle Street. We got inside the one LaSalle building. The lobby, the elevators are just amazing. It's like gold leaf. The detail, the letter boxes, and the security let me film in there. They said, hey, you could film the elevator lobby. I said, oh, thanks. And it's built 1929, 1930, right before the crash. Just as this building. This building was built right before the Great Depression. There were so many buildings planned that weren't built because of that crash, and all that capital built up and just evaporated overnight. It's just amazing. But here we'll get across the street here. We're at Washington and Wacker. Here's the Bank of America Tower, 110 North Wacker, and we'll head. They got we got to do like a hanging river esplanade there behind there, because this building goes straight down to the river. You can't walk on that side there. But Civic Opera. Civic Theater here. There's the Bank of America. See, they cantilevered over this. The building's on top of it, and that's structurally holding up this whole side of the building, these 3 columns right at the river. You know how expensive it is to build this? This one's cantilevered over railroad air rights. This portion of the building, this used to be Boeing, and then AT&T when it was Ameritech, and then it was AT&T, SBC, whatever. This portion of the building actually hangs like a bridge over those railroad, and then this portion shakes a little bit because when the trains go through, the Boeing logo is still up there. So I guess the Boeing still has a presence here, even though technically their headquarters are in Washington, D.C. Isn't it amazing that Boeing moved from Seattle to Chicago, and then they moved to Washington, D.C.? You know why? The lobbyists wanted to be closer to Washington, D.C. That is literally why Boeing moved to Washington, D.C. And that shows you the importance of money in politics and lobbying. And for good or bad, mostly bad in my opinion. Yeah, the Great Depression was depressing. You got it. Thanks for tuning in here. Hey, how you doing? Heading through here. 60 degrees, not too bad. Now I got the camera crooked the other way. There we go. We got it straightened out. So we got a lot of wind here by these buildings. I know. Thanks for bearing with the wind. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. We'll head back right along the Riverwalk here. I got over 20 minutes to get back, so we should be able to do it. Yeah, here's this restaurant. This is Bizarre Meat by Jose Andres. Jose Andres restaurant right here. Bizarre Meat. You can get your Bizarre Meat, sit out there, and they'll have this outdoor seating open here pretty soon. I'll stay on this side. We'll head over here on Wacker a little bit to connect to the Riverwalk. We'll get to the Riverwalk. Hey, these tulips are still waiting to spring forward. There's the Sears Tower, top of it. Hey, we got the light here, so we'll head up to Lake Street, and then we can connect right with the Riverwalk here. This is Randolph. So we were on Randolph earlier. We're at the western end of the loop here. That goes over to Ogilvie train station. And, we'll head up here. 150 North Wacker Drive. Hey, let's go by the Beatnik. Beatnik on the river. That's my type of place there. Look how that's cantilevered. Look how the corner of that doesn't have a column. And the whole weight of that building is cantilevered on those other columns. The structural engineers love to do that to show off their math skills. Yeah, Mary Top Office. Yeah, the wind in Chicago breaks many umbrellas. You'll see umbrellas laying all broken in the corner, blowing around. There, Good Funk Wine Bar and Cafe, Beatnik on the river. They actually have something that's on the river. You go down, you're like right at the water level there. You go to the Beatnik on the river there. You can see it from the other side. And that is where you enter right here. I think, all right here, Beatnik on the river. There's the 7 a.m. nail care. Hey, Beatnik. They got a greeter right there, so I don't want to mess with them. Hey, go to the nail care. But yeah, on TikTok, I just posted that pickleball place there on Clark Street. I actually caught them there playing pickleball. So I don't care. I don't know if anybody cares about pickleball. I know it's like the latest craze. The fad's probably already over. We already missed it, but they got indoor pickleball there, and they're going to build a new one on Clybourne. I don't know if that one's up and running yet. I'll keep you posted on that. They're going to build a larger one. But it looks like they got bocce ball, they got bulls and other indoor stuff, bean bags and stuff you can play, not just pickleball. It used to be where the Urban Outfitters, it's where the Urban Outfitters used to be. Here, we'll go down the Chicago Riverwalk. We're right up here at Lake Street and Wacker here, so we'll head down. My favorite season is probably the fall. Summertime's great, especially for the beach stuff, but the fall, we usually have nice long falls, and it takes a long time for the trees to turn color. To me, it seems like we have a lot of 70s and even low 80s, lower humidity. Summer times, believe it or not, can get kind of hot, sometimes hot and humid. And I like the summertime, but then I really like the fall. Fall is probably my favorite. But I like all seasons. I like that we actually have seasons. I know so many people from Florida tune in the wintertime. They're like, how can you live in this cold? I'm like, it makes you appreciate the nice weather even more. And then you can hack it, you know. And when you go to Florida, it gets to 60 degrees. People are got their winter coat on and are complaining when I'm like in my shorts and laying on the beach. You know, it's all relative. But yeah, keep the rocks in your pockets. I'll blow me off the street there. He's got my pizza on TikTok. That's good. Andre, the pizza guy. I'll have to look for that. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there's many good food critics that go through the places I go. You can ask them for. People always ask me about restaurants. I'm like, ask Andre. He probably knows better than I do. Hey, here's a nice dog. So we made it to the Riverwalk. There's the Merchandise Mart. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Happy Friday from Chicago. Got 60 degrees, which is not bad at all. And we're having a nice walk here. We went through the loop. Wasn't anything going on at Daily Plaza. And so we'll just head back on the Riverwalk. I missed it too. You know, supposedly there was a fire at the bottom of the Marina Tower. I don't know if a boat caught on fire or what it was. There was a lot of smoke on last Friday, a week ago. I think that's when it happened. Somebody posted a TikTok. They were driving by. Does anybody know anything about the fire at the Marina Towers? I missed that when I was out of town. And got sirens. They're working on the Franklin Street Bridge here. You see I got the barge underneath here. Look at these clouds. Beautiful clouds. Chicago Riverwalk, 1243. Yeah, there's Wolf Point. This is a test of severance. I thought it said surveillance. So they're going to bring back Art on the Mart, April the 12th through June 5th. So it started. So they restarted Art on the Mart. We might check it out sometime if I'm down here when it's dark. And hey, look at this shoreline sightseeing coming through here. I know they got the construction here. I got to keep walking here because I got to get back. But here we'll show the boat going through here. Evening Star. Sirens. Got an ambulance going across there. Hey, look at this view. There's your view to Chicago along the Chicago River. There it is. So 8:30 and 9 p.m. 8:30 and 9. They probably run it twice. It's a half an hour program there. They got projectors right there, and they project Art on the Mart. I got TikToks from last year when they did it. We sat right here and filmed the whole thing with the music and everything. And it's still up there if you scroll back in time there on my archives. There's a few people walking along the Riverwalk. We'll see if they're starting to open up any of these restaurants here. And the Merchandise Mart's looking nice. Happy Friday, Anna Marie. How you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Brews and Bites. Yeah, they don't have it open yet. There comes the L train. Look at that coming across Wells Street. How's that for timing? There's a brown line heading into the loop. Yeah, making some noise. Scenes of the city. The rumble of the L train. Here comes the barge, a large barge here. We'll get right out here and we'll get a nice close-up view as it goes by here. Yeah, shoreline sightseeing there, going by the Merchandise Mart. Yeah, if you see the Fugitive movie, they actually used the Merchandise Mart station as part of the plot there. They found out he was back in Chicago because they could hear the L announcement in the distance of the recording there. Look at the City View barge there. How you doing? That's great. Yeah, people saying hello. What a nice day, beautiful sunny day. Got the whole spring and summer ahead of us. true barge pushing it up the river there. There's the train. The train was sitting there the whole time. Hey, we'll follow this barge. Can't keep up with it. Yeah, I can't wait to. I'm ready to retire. I'm only 48, but I'm pretty lazy. I'm a lazy hippie. That's why I said I make a good socialist, because I'm lazy. That's a joke. That's a joke. But yeah, I appreciate. That's why I do this at lunchtime. I really appreciate people being so better conversation in the comments. People have more time to watch this. TikTok people, you know, Chris knows this too. Like, people don't stay on anything. Our attention span's so long, or so short now, that even, you know, I'll be live streaming, and even if I have like 700 people viewing, nobody's staying there. There's a few people that watch the whole thing, but most people, they stay a few minutes, they go on. So people are constantly coming in, coming out of your lives on TikTok. No one stays long at all, because no one has the attention span. All you gotta do is scroll to the next thing, and you're like, oh, I'm missing the next thing, you know. And so a lot of times people stay for 5 minutes, they'll leave a nasty comment and they'll scroll. They won't even wait for the reply, you know. It's the nature. That's what TikTok's doing to society. Isn't it great? Yeah, it's all, and they're making money off it like crazy. But we'll see what happens. Glad somebody's making money off of it. I appreciate everybody that gives and subscribes. I really appreciate it. I have the lowest fee possible, $2.99 on TikTok, cheaper than a cup of coffee. Appreciate people that support my content in that way. It really helps out. But I'm not doing this for the money. I'd be doing it. I've done it most of last year. Didn't make any money off of it because they canceled my account. I lost all my money. Been canceled. This program's been canceled by the network. But that's why we're on YouTube. Thanks for following me on YouTube. We got a nice alternative platform here. Look at the Britannica building. These sirens. Oh. Going right across the South Street Bridge there. Hey, look at all the people sitting on the seating wall here. This is where the Eastland disaster happened. There's a plaque up there about it. Horrible maritime disaster happened here in 1915. A boat capsized and 800 people lost their lives. The Eastland disaster. We've talked about it before. Cancel culture, you got it. Yeah. I'm against cancel culture, and I lean to the left, so I can imagine people on the right don't like it either. And, you know, everything becomes absurd at a certain point. You know, just gotta learn to be tolerant of opposing viewpoints. I don't expect anybody to agree with my crazy views, and I don't. Thanks for cutting me some slack if I don't agree with yours. You know, we can coexist here. You know, that's what it's all about. You know, when have Americans ever agreed about anything? Rarely. You know, if at all. You know. Hey, look at the nice. People jogging here on the Riverwalk and boats going by. Britannica building. Yeah, Chicago's beautiful. Thanks, Mama Goo. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you can link up with me on TikTok. If anybody can help out Mama Goo, link up with me on TikTok. I know it's hard. Sometimes I feel inept even trying to. At least on TikTok, there's a link to my YouTube. I guess I got to do a TikTok. I don't have a thing you can just click on. And this is so nice. Yeah, next week I'm going to try to take one of these water taxis. I've been talking about it. I know Jay, City Walking Girl's already taken a water taxi, which is great. I plan on doing the same thing. It'll be an easy way for me to do a lunchtime live. Just jump on a boat and I won't have to walk. And just it'll take me from one side to the other. I can just narrate the whole architectural buildings, skyscrapers as we go by. Oh, the comments. Yeah, it took me such a long time to deal with. My moderators help out so much. Just dealing with the trolls, and people will get personal. The people have talked about my deceased mother. I'm like, you know, they're just purposely trying to get under your skin, and they get off on it. You know, and you got to realize it's just a comment. It's just they're you know, it could be a robot. It could be a, I don't know. Who knows what's going on? You know, just that's how some people interact with media. They just put everything down, and they makes them feel better. And it's such a tragedy that that's the way it is. Oh, and here's the Marina Towers. Look at that. How nice this looks. There's the House of Blues. And I appreciate, you know, constructive criticism. People have suggestions. I don't usually tolerate people. They try to like tell you what to do and what to think and where to go, and they'll accuse you of. They've accused me of being racist because I won't go to certain neighborhoods. I go to all neighborhoods of Chicago. I've gone to South Side, West Side, North Side. They don't even check out my content, and they make that assertion. The building I live in is really diverse. My neighbors that I choose to live with, you know, it doesn't reflect the demographics of Lincoln Park. And I choose to live in that building. I like that, you know, and they'll accuse me of all kinds of horrible things just because I live in Chicago. And I'm glad. Thank you for understanding that you're intelligent enough to know that not everybody in Chicago thinks the same way. And I'm critical of our own weird politics as well. There's corruption in this city, and there's corruption in Washington, D.C. I'm sure there's corruption in wherever you're at, too. And it's not, both parties do it, you know. We need to have more parties. Join the party. You look at the Marina Towers. There's people sitting on the wall here. Oh, my mods are great. Thanks, Patricia. Thanks for shout out to the mods there. I hope Mary Therese and Chris can see that, and other people, Diana and Sarah, and leading the team there, and oh my God, Anita. Couldn't do it without them. Appreciate it. It's a thankless job. There at the host stand. Okay, City Winery. People are sitting here on the wall. So I think that's where they had a fire. I think there was a fire somewhere down in there, because like last Friday, smoke was coming out of here. People saw it from Wacker Drive. And if you search there, look at the scaffolding. There's scaffolding on the Marina Towers. Huh? I've never seen scaffolding or I don't think that's window washing or working on the balcony, because the windows are set in from the balconies. Burnside, that's great. Thanks, Mama Goo. That's great. See, a lot of people tune in. You got a Chicago connection, either to a certain neighborhood or a suburb. And that's great here. We got 12:54. We're trying to make it back to work here. It gets congested here. There we go. Thank you. Thanks, Betty. Thanks for tuning in. Larry and Kim's, thanks for being on here. So there's the underneath, the actual marina part. We're going underneath State Street here. People taking photos. Chicago Riverwalk. 60 degrees, not too bad. Oops, I'll wait till they take a picture of me. No, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, nice photo op there. You got the Wrigley building right there. It's nice. There's the Vietnam War Memorial here in the Riverwalk. And then you can see the John Hancock over there. Of course, this is the tall Trump Tower. I'll often ask about that. Hey, they got the fountain. Hey, they got the fountain going. It's another sign of spring. They're turning the fountains on. We'll head over to, see the Marina Towers. Oops. We'll head over to this fountain. Chicago remembers. Never forget, we got our own Vietnam War Memorial here with the names of the fallen. Got all the insignia of the branches of the military. And you got this, look at how you got the water coming down there, and then it flows out. Look how nice this is. So we'll just we'll head up the stairs here. See Vietnam Veterans Memorial. There they got a wreath there. People paying their respects. And just like the one in Washington D.C., it has all the years there. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Look at this clouds. Yeah, look at this clouds reflected in the mirrored glass there. Here, we'll head up here. See, here's this plaza here. Look how nice this is, right? Marina Towers in the back and the river. Yeah, they got a gate here. Every once in a while they close this gate. Usually when it was real cold or when the river flooded, they'll close this gate. But here's the statue to George Washington. Robert Morris and Chaim Solomon, patriots of the American Revolution, of course, all three. And this is a statue made by the Masons. There's another fountain there, Cocoa Bar. There's the 17th Church of Christ Scientist. There's another clock. See, that's we were talking about the clocks earlier. That's a clock on the side of the Jewelers Building. And here we'll head. Look, he's running without a shirt. Look, it's warm. It's like a summer day here in Chicago, 60 degrees. Yeah, people walking without jackets. It's not too bad. There's the Irv Kupcinet statue there. He was a sports writer and sports broadcaster. And we'll look down Wabash here. Across down the street. Yeah, see, find something new every day. I still run into stuff. I will walk down the street. I walk down 100 times and I'll see something because I'm live streaming that I never saw before. Isn't that amazing? It shows you, like, we can all be conscious but still be sleepwalking and not see stuff. I do it all the time. Stuff right in front of my face. And 17th Church of Christ Scientist. It's a Harry Weiss was the architect. Look how they got, here's a pigeon. They got the sunken plaza here. It lets light into the lower floors here because, of course, people know Wacker Drive is below us. There's the grounds, this is not the ground. We're like 20 feet above the ground, so they can do this. They got like a little peaceful garden down there. There's Morton Steakhouse. Look at the Carbide and Carbon building. You see that there, the black one. Beautiful Art Deco. And we'll head past the Hampton here. There was a strike going on here like 2 weeks ago. I caught that. I didn't cut it out because I imagine what the comments would be. But yeah, if you go in here, it used to be the Chicago Motor Club, the precursor to AAA. And they got a beautiful lobby here. We showed it several times before, so I'll skip it because I got to get back to work here. We got 12:59. We had a nice little tour of the loop here. Thanks for being on and being a part of it. I'll be on TikTok tonight. Oh man, they're lowering the. Wow, yeah, they're look. They're laying a fresh layer of asphalt in Garland Court. You can smell it. There's the city at work here. Look at that. They got the steamroller. What's that FedEx gonna do? FedEx is like, crap, I gotta turn around. Hey, they're laying a fresh patch of asphalt there in Garland Court. So we'll check it out once they're done. It smells pretty stinky there with that tar. There's the Carbide and Carbon building. Yeah, it's the season to repair the roads. They're doing it on Rush Street. They're working on the pipes underneath the ground, the water department. And we'll head back to Michigan Avenue. I'll cross the street, get you one last look there at the Wrigley building. Yeah, Chicago's a beautiful town. Thanks for, Larry, thanks for checking it out. Imagine the smell. Yeah, it smells pretty tarry. Thanks for watching the walk here. So here we got the light here. I hear sirens coming, so I better get across the street here. There's always sirens chasing me. There's a Wrigley building, the John Hancock. We went by it this morning. So I'll wait to see what the siren does. We'll be on TikTok tonight. I walk home from work. It's a pretty easy Friday here. Look at the Carbide and Carbon building. It must have turned. Look at this vintage Art Deco skyscraper. That's gold leaf at the top. It's just beautiful. It's got a nice lobby too. Here's the Citizen M, the Charlie Brown building, because it looks like his shirt there at the bottom. You know, the little squiggle there. So that's what's making all that noise. That ambulance is going across Wacker there. But there, we'll just head over this way. Waiting for that last left turn there. Oh, they didn't make it. They're trapped. So good. So thanks again, everybody, for being on. We'll catch you later on TikTok. Hopefully, Mama Goo, hopefully you can find me there on TikTok. If not, we'll just message me here on YouTube, and I'll get back to you. Just reply to make a comment on one of these videos, and I check it, and then I can reply back to you, and we'll figure it out. So there's Sweetwater. There's the Michigan Avenue looking south. That's where we started. We did a full circle of the loop here. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mary, Patricia, Kevin. Thanks for being on. I know you were on for the Ducks last night. That's great. Thanks, John James. And Mary, Tricia, Kevin, Larry, all the way back to Richard and Chris. Mama Goo, we'll talk to you later. Have a good Friday there. Talk to you later. Thanks a lot.